Every time a building is demolished, the materials and energy that went into its construction are wasted and placed into a landfill. Because of this, historic preservationists have been focusing on the environmental benefits of saving buildings versus demolishing them. I mean, we recycle aluminum cans, so why not buildings? The values of historic preservation have broadened significantly over time. And because of this, I urge us all as a community, I challenge us to promote historic preservation as a vital and relevant tool for shaping Charleston's future. And what does the future hold for Charleston? One thing is certain. Growth is coming to this area. What isn't certain is what that growth is going to look like. We absolutely need a framework, and I assert that historic preservation provides that framework. And what do you think of when you hear the words historic preservation? Maybe you picture a bunch of crotchety old blue hairs fighting to save some irrelevant relic from the past, or perhaps some historical zealots getting in the way of progress. But the preservation movement has moved far beyond just fighting to save the mansions of dead, rich white people. It now finds itself at a critical nexus between urban planning, economic development, sustainability, and smart growth. Out of 381 metro areas in the U.S., Charleston is ranked 12th for growth. Boeing is getting ready to bring 8,000 new jobs to the region. Soon, we will have over 5,000 hotel rooms in the downtown historic district alone. Recently, Charleston was voted top city in the U.S. by Condé Nast, and two of the major factors for that designation were our atmosphere and ambiance and our culture and sites. So there is no question Charleston is hot right now, and it appears that people are drawn here by our renowned historic assets. But really, why do people flock here? How can we distill the widespread allure of this city? Well, I think it has something to do with its ability to convey a strong sense of living history. Walking around, you can have this dizzying sensation of stepping back in time, yet also experiencing something fresh and new. So the question remains, can we preserve this unique sense of place that we have while also absorbing this inevitable growth? Now, there are different ways that we could react to our success. One would be to get mad and try to fight the incoming tide. The message in this Revolutionary War flags represents the proud yet parochial side of our character. It symbolizes the part of us that's famously insular and resistant to change. Now, another way we could react would be to unite as a community, to create a vision that shapes this growth that's coming, to allow it to add new layers to the city. This Revolutionary War flag reflects the more inclusive aspects of our culture. I would like this to serve as the mantra for the 21st century progressive Charleston. This ethic is in our community, and we need to make sure it continues. Now, I love this quote from Bill Murtaugh. It absolutely shows why preservation needs to be at the center of dialogue about how smart cities should evolve. Preservation is not about freezing things in time. Charleston isn't colonial Williamsburg nor Disney World. Charleston is a living, authentic place that people from all over the world want to visit. And our diverse architecture should really serve as an exciting point of departure for new development. We need to be creatively guiding how the new intersects with the old. Like the Roman god Janus, we need to be looking backwards and forwards at the same time. And really, we need to be recognizing that buildings such as this one, which might not be such an obvious candidate for preservation, are valuable and represent an important layer of our history. Recently, we've been seeing lowbrow buildings such as these being creatively renovated into hip spaces. We must encourage this. We've seen over time how rehabbing buildings can have a regenerative impact on its surrounding environment. It's good for people, planet, and profit. And as the birthplace of local preservation, Charleston really needs to be the leader in taking it to the next level. This is the future of preservation. And this revitalization is not being created by planners or politicians. This energy is swelling from the ground up and is being fed by trends like crowdfunding and social media. But really, what do we want our new construction to look like? New buildings are a huge problem today because they're primarily driven by the cheapest materials and the lowest common denominator. They typically have no respect for their surroundings and really no concern for quality design. Charleston deserves better. We need to start recognizing the value of longevity in our buildings. How long will they last? Will we even want to preserve them in 50 years? There are three very important lessons that we can learn from historic buildings. First, new buildings need to be durable so that they can stand the test of time. Therefore, they need to be built of high-quality materials. And ultimately, they need to be adaptable so that they can survive far into the future. Our very own City Hall started out as a bank. But there's even more that we can learn from historic buildings about the future. Let's take, for instance, our beloved Charleston Single House. Yes, it might be a bit drafty, a little bit harder to heat and cool, but the reality is it may be the greenest building that you've ever seen. It has many of the qualities that the hip architects of today cherish. It is sustainable. It is built of local, durable materials. It has windows that open to allow in the fresh air, and it's oriented to take advantage of the prevailing breeze. It has shutters that open and close to control the sunlight. It's located in a neighborhood where you can actually walk to do your errands. Why have we moved away from such fairly simple concepts? We need to bring them back. There is no question Charleston is facing a major growth spurt. Consider what's getting ready to happen in areas like the Upper Peninsula and the Neck. How we shape this will impact the city for generations. So, our collective stewardship vision needs to provide ample room for both of the buildings, ample space for both of the buildings pictured here. This historic Freedman's Cottage can happily coexist with contemporary buildings like the proposed Clemson Architecture Center. Charleston has always celebrated a diversity of architectural styles, and we need to continue that. Preservation of the old and integration of the new is the key to our success as a world-class city. Thank you.